Well, good morning. This is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred. I'm really glad you could join me here today out in the vegetable garden. Well, anyhow, I have here my garden rake. And so I wanted to share today with you some tips and ideas on how to hill your potatoes. So thanks for joining me today out here in the vegetable garden. So follow me along and I'm going to show you where I'm going to be hilling up these potatoes. So we're going to be hilling up these potatoes. You know, we're down here at my pumpkin patch area or potato patch area, and I have here some of my red Norland potatoes that I had planted a while back, and you know, as you can see, they have some nice height to them. They're probably 12 to 15 inches tall. And so, you know, in the hilling or mounding, you want to mound your potatoes at least twice during the growing season, because it's in the mound or in the hill is where these potatoes grow. And it also protects them from the sun. And so what I'm going to do is get my garden fork or garden rake and start to hill these potatoes up. So I'm going to take my rake, and you know, you want to mound up at least 6 inches, maybe a little bit more. And then again, once the plant grows even higher, you know, you want your mound to be at least 12 inches high by the end of the growing season. That's basically what mine end up being about. So I'm going to simply just take my rake and work back the soil into the into the plants. Now you may even have to add a little bit of soil if you don't have any extra soil. But these, I had grown these potatoes in wood chips that were a couple years old. And then I'm just going to turn around and work my way down the other side of the row here. It's always good exercise. Of course, that's one reason I like gardening. It's great exercise. But just form a nice mound up here for your potatoes. On both sides. This also loosens some of the weeds up at the same time. So there you go. That's pretty much all I had to do. I see I have a little area here on the end I still need to do. You want to make sure you have it mounded wherever your plants are. I guess this is the area where Bailey was laying. And these are the red Norland potatoes. And next to them I have the Adirondack variety, the blue-purple flesh, and then the Katydid potatoes. Now I just recently planted some sweet potato slips too, which I did for the first time. I planted some of the red jersey and the yam and the Beauregard. So, you know, those you don't need to hill up. You plant them in a nice loose compost and they just grow underneath the soil. So I'm really excited to watch them grow and develop. I think I'm going to get a huge harvest out of these potato slips, sweet potato slips, and they were only like 15 cents a piece because I bought 20 or more from Ray's Nursery. But anyhow, these type of potatoes you certainly do need to hill up at least twice during the season, and you know, again, you're just creating a mound for them to be able to grow in and protect them from the sun. So anyhow, I just want to thank you for joining me out here in the garden. It's you know, Memorial Weekend's coming up. We're going to get some temperatures in the mid-80s, and so it's going to be time for these overalls to come off and maybe start wearing some shorts out here. So anyhow, I just want to thank you for joining me today out here in the vegetable garden. And let me encourage you to think about gardening, you know, if that's something you've never done. And you know, I always encourage people to start small and build off of your successes. You know, maybe something, you know, even a balcony. If you have a balcony or back deck, you could start growing in containers. Or, you know, if you have some backyard space, you can start with like a 4-foot by 8-foot raised bed, or even just use the soil there in the ground. You know, even in that area, in that 4-foot by 8-foot area, you could plant a couple tomatoes, a couple peppers, maybe a couple basil plants. I'm going to be planting some of those in my daughter Julie's 4-foot by 8-foot raised bed coming up, and doing a video on that. But yeah, let me encourage you to think about gardening. It's something fun to do. You certainly can save a whole lot of money. You know, you could grow some Swiss chard or kale. You know, they're pick and come again, so as long as you pick the outer leaves, you can have greens right through the season. You know, for $1 or $2, you can supply yourself all year round. And so anyhow, I just want to thank you for joining me out here in the garden. So I hope you have a wonderful day. So until next time, this is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred.